Hey everybody, so let's talk about the Obamacare myth today and the healthcare problems in the United States. So currently there's debate going on whether or not Obamacare is helping the US healthcare market or whether or not it's hurting it. And I'd say overwhelmingly in the negative direction. Governmental healthcare is severely inefficient. So let's talk about the three different things in healthcare. The three things that we want. We want high quality, we want low cost, and we want everybody to have it, universality. However, those three things in its current state are not possible in the United States. So currently we private insurance provides high quality. However, it's going to be a medium to high cost, and then low universality, and then you have public insurance, which you would have medium to low quality. Emphasis on the lower quality. Um, it should have low cost, but in the United States it is a high cost, and universality, higher universality than private. However, it's not helping the United States consumer at all. Let's look at the monthly premiums. Increase across the board. Look at this chart of all the U.S. counties. Monthly premiums have gone up and are increasing. And then let's look at all the counties with increase versus those with a negative percent change. Still all the way across the board. And then let's look. Next thing, let's look at competition. Competition is falling dramatically. There's whole entire stretches of the country that have one insurer, so we've reduced competition with Obamacare. Overwhelmingly negative. The United States spends the most on healthcare, and the reason why is primarily because of our semi-private system. We can have a full free market system, which I think would be most beneficial, and then you can have a full government system. I would say that's a better option than what we have now, but still terrible. The Obamacare is simply bankrupting the healthcare industry, so that's why they're consolidating into like only one large insurance agency can cover a lot of these areas. Because generally, a lot of these are low population or poor areas. That's why they can only support one or two carriers at a time, and this is a huge issue for those people because these insurance companies can singly increase rates, and this just simply wouldn't happen under a free market system. We would have lots and lots of health insurance companies that would be wanting to lower prices. And let's talk a little bit about the history of the health insurance market in the United States. The huge issue we have right now is that we have two major issues. The first is the declining amount of healthy people relative to healthy people. And the issue behind this is, well, the population's getting older, and B, high obesity rates, high uses of alcohol and cigarettes. And so, yes, that's why you're going to have a declining healthy population. However, medical research offsets this, and hopefully that increases. But the thing is medical research is primarily done by the private sector in the United States. And look at this. I recommend you read this article. And part of the reason why medical research happens is because the healthcare providers are able to profit and then use those profits to invest in medical research, and the government simply doesn't able to do that. Is because they have to provide for more poor people, so there's less medical research. So this is also a huge issue. We're essentially floating Europe with medical research if you look at the statistics. Something like 70% of healthcare research is done by the private companies, which are only 40% of the US healthcare market. This is absolutely insane. This is one argument for, freer healthcare markets and competitive. And we've not had a free healthcare market for a long time, at least since the 60s, I would say. That's when things started to go downhill really quickly, because the government was starting to interfere with the healthcare, because doctors know what their patients need, and once you have more and more public healthcare control, then the government is going to be telling doctors what they can provide and what they can't provide. Let's take existing drugs that are produced at a lower cost in another country. You can't get those. It's very hard. That's one huge issue with the government is they say, oh, no. And they also choose what treatment you can get. So, for instance, controversial treatments may be beneficial to try if you know you have a terminal illness, but the government says no. That would be one huge issue with public healthcare is you just do not have the innovation or willingness to try new drugs. It's inefficient. Okay, now let's see. Well, I'm gonna get. Well, in Sweden they can do this, and well, in Denmark they have successful healthcare. Well, that's a ticking time bomb. Europe is going down the wayside. The European Union will probably go into recession, a general recession across the whole entire European Union in just a matter of years, if not one or two. That's what I would say. And also, those states are not sustainable with the exception of Norway, and they are simply naturally gifted, and they're using their royal money, in a sovereign wealth fund to, provide these things. Also, they are capitalistic nations. They used to be more, look at Sweden. They used to be the number one growth in Europe for a long time, and then they socialized, and now they're desocializing. If you just look at the history of Sweden, they're becoming more and more endorsing of free markets, less and less socialist. And then also look at the income inequality in the United States. A lot of the wealth is concentrated in the Northeast with higher GDP per capita, and those are similar, if not higher GDP per capita than Norway and Denmark and Sweden, and these states can probably afford it. They do have high amounts of debt, just to let you guys know. And then also, we have poor states. Mississippi, 36,000, and that's comparable to, a little more than Italy and a little less than France. See, and also, it doesn't work consistently throughout the European Union. Public health in Spain and Italy and Portugal is not great. They're poorer and poorer states, and the United States cannot afford it. And essentially, this is another reason why public health care cannot be translated from Europe to America, because in Europe you have a bunch of states broken up, rich states and poor states. They're about the size of the United States, and this is a huge issue. There's large income inequality between the European Union states. They're not all perfect, and they all have public health care, and there's a huge difference between the rich ones, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, versus the poor one in Slovenia, Portugal. The Scandinavian model only works in Scandinavia for a temporary amount of time. It's not going to be able to do this in the United States. This is why we need to go towards a free market, where there can be multiple providers who can be competitive, and also we need to get the regulations out, because if you actually go to a hospital, you don't see a menu like McDonald's where a mammogram is so many thousands of dollars. It's because the government has made it so complicated you can't actually have a menu for universal prices. So price discrimination is rampant in the United States, and this just wouldn't happen if we had a free market system. They wanted to provide, there'd be low cost options, high cost options, so everybody could get the health care that they need. Also, the mandates are stupid. A lot of people pay the price and don't get health insurance because it's cheaper to pay, essentially the no healthcare tax. That's the stupid, because that's just subsidizing the other poor people who buy it. Oh man, healthcare does not work in America, and we need to fix it. And Trump really needs to appeal Obamacare. Hopefully, he can convince the rhinos to do so. If not, healthcare market in the United States is doomed. Thank you guys for listening today. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. And if you disagree with me, please comment. I'll most likely write you back. Thank you guys. Have a great day.